Is this thing working? Okay, cool. This thing's complicated, isn't it? Here we go. So, I'm just streaming because I just wanted to talk about existence and a theory I had ahead of mine, and kind of my game that I'm kind of making as well. So basically, my game is about time and parallel universes, and it's about this particle known as cynical. But in the era of World War II, it was called hyperdimensional particles. But obviously, uh, the Ger- a German scientist who was I don't know his name yet, but his last name is Brille, which means glasses in German, and glasses obviously represents intelligence and observation, and that basically contradicts Mr. Brille's uh, personality. And so, with what hyperdimensional particles are is basically it's split in two groups. Now I'm gonna call it cynical because uh, it's not called cynical yet. Well, it will be when he goes back in time to the era of, well, before World War One. Basically, in late 1800s, he goes back in time, and obviously he can't call it hyperdimensional particles because uh, that's Bullock's talk. He goes back to late 1800s England and calls it cynical. I don't know why he calls it cynical specifically. Uh, I'm working on it though. It may be because it's a particle of sin, or it's some sort of uh, word crossover of the word particle, and it's also called cynic particles. Basically, anything that revolves around cynical is considered cynic. So anyway, what cynical is it has two categories, two different things of itself. It's cynic X and cynic Y. And cynic X is a magenta or purple color, and basically it kind of controls space and geometry and how the universes bend and fold. Uh, and that's basically, to put it simply, what cynic X is. Cynic Y is basically controlling time and duration, and how time bends and folds. And so putting them together is the building blocks of our entire existence, our entire multiverse, and each individual universe that's inside it. Now, uh, people who are so in the game, in the story. Sorry, I have Tourette's. In the story, people who undergo a traumatic event while exposed to cynical gain cynic powers, and depending on their personality and how much cynical they were exposed to, will determine what kind of abilities they will get. If their personality is on the thinking and logical side, they will most likely gain cynic Y abilities. If their personality revolves more on the feeling and emotional side of things, then they will most likely get cynic X abilities. So with people with Cynic X abilities, they'd be able to sort of teleport and basically bend the world around them. Basically control, and if they have enough power, enough, uh, enough Cynical X, they would be able to bend the multiverse itself. But obviously, you need a lot of Cynical X to do that. Cynical Y, obviously, controls time, as I said, and people who have Cynic Y abilities can control time and how it works, so they'd be able to sort of stop time and sort of rewind time and maybe see into the future and see into the past. But depending on someone's personality and how much cynical they actually have will depend on what type of power, what type of ability they will have of cynical. Like, for example, some people with Cynic Y will be able to see into the future, and other people with a different kind of personality that's similar, but that is similar in terms of thinking and logic, but different in some other aspects. They can see into the past. So basically, to put it simply, the abilities of cynical revolves around how much cynical the individual was exposed to, and the bias of what the personality is, basically. Now, everyone that has Cynic abilities does have both Cynic X and Cynic Y, but obviously, if you are one of the cynical, your other Cynic power will be very, very low to little to near nothing, basically. So only people with a strong amount of cynical would be able to access those abilities, basically. So anyway, as I was saying, sorry, I have Tourette's. The German scientist, who I have not named yet, goes back in time and marries this British woman, who I haven't identified as a character yet, but they do exist. I might get a complaint from my dad or my sister or whatever. I just ignore them because it is in the middle of the night and I am talking bollocks and stuff. So basically, Amelia is the daughter of Mr. Briller and, well, Mrs. Briller when she marries Mr. Briller. And Amelia also has a twin brother named George. So there's Amelia Briller and George Briller. Now, Amelia is more of the Cynic X type person, while George is more of the Cynic Y type person. But even though their personalities are very different, because they're twins, their personalities parallel with each other, meaning they can sort of kind of revolve into each other. They can be more flexible when they're together. They're cynical. Now, obviously, they don't get cynic powers until later on in their life, at a very young age, though. Now, back to Mr. Briller, who hasn't been named yet. He obviously escaped to the late 1800s, and he's been experimenting with cynical. And he's been using test subjects. He's been kidnapping people and been using them as test subjects. And each one of his test subjects die from being overwhelmed with cynical. What he's trying to do is he's trying to find the power and how to access the power of cynical. But every single one of his test subjects keeps dying because he's putting too much cynical into it. And he realizes later on that he can use that the perfect test subjects are his children, Amelia Briller and George Briller, because they are twins and they both have very complex personalities. So he does the test on them and they survive, but their personalities get really complex. They get 4 times bigger. Their personalities get 4 times bigger and 4 times more complex, meaning that their personalities were split into 4 categories. and they both become dual Sinic, which means they both have Sinic X and Sinic Y. And that's to basically even out the overstimulation of cynical. But obviously, since they were previously only, since their personality is dominant in only one cynical, only one of them is more dominant. It's more showy. The other cynical is there, and just as powerful, but not used as often and not used as in as much power, but does get used. Like, for example, Amelia. Amelia is mostly Sinic X, but she has Sinic Y, and an even amount of Sinic Y, because she can draw the future, and she can write the past. She can see every single possibility, every possible destiny, and every possible destiny that has happened. Now, with my theory, obviously, with destiny, every destiny is true. Obviously, there isn't an infinite amount of parallel universes, because time and space can only be so specific. But it is a very, very large number. Don't get me wrong, it's a very, very large number. I think I googled it, and it was like estimated to be like 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 7, which is bigger than Googleplex. So it's a really big number. So, and the reason why there's so many destinies is because our consciousness it makes it completely random. Our consciousness is the only thing that's random. Okay, so let's back up from the story a bit and talk about my personal theory about existence. So, the theory of everything, the theory of existence, basically is that that every possibility is true, but only one can happen, unless obviously you go back in time and you make another timeline. So, okay. Sorry, my mind's a bit jumbled right now because I'm speaking more. I'm speaking more than I'm thinking. Let me just give me a breather so I can catch my breath and catch my mind. Okay, so with my personal theory, where was I? Sorry, I'm a bit. I've thought about this. I've ever thought about this again. Hang on, I can think about this. Just give me a second. Nah, I've gone blank. I'm sorry. Let's just go back to Amelia and George. So, Amelia and George, their personalities have been quadrupled, basically. Their personalities have been split into 4 categories. So in a way, they would be considered bipolar, or they have multiple personalities, but they don't. But they're all combined into one mega personality. So that's why they're so intelligent and so intuitive, because they have so many personalities inside of them that they're thinking at 4 times speed. They're thinking at 4 times the amount of a normal person would. Now George, even though he is similar to Amelia, he drifts off to a bit of a dark path. You see, George's personality, basically. He's to explain it. He's an old chap. He's an English. He's an early 1900s English chap, basically. Stereotypical, but modernized in a way. Obviously hinting to the fact that he is Sinic Y, and basically knower of the future and controller of time. And basically, he's just like Amelia, but he's more confident. He's got he's got different attributes to his personality, when Amelia is more calm and collective, and may not be as confident, but is definitely more mature. So Amelia, going back to Amelia, Amelia can see every possibility, every possible timeline. But the thing about the human brain, and the thing about, okay, I'm gonna refresh for a second. So, let's do a bit of a thought experiment here. If our universe, if our existence had absolutely no life, no humans, no animals, destiny would just be a linear equation, because everything can be proven with math and physics. Every collision of an asteroid goes into one direction, and because there's no decision making, because there's no randomness, everything always ends the same way, depending on how everything started. That is why there needs to be life in existence in order to make in order to make it so that there are multiple destinies, because otherwise everything would just be too linear. Everything would just be one outcome. But if you add randomness to the equation, if you add our brains, our humanity, then things go from a simple answer to a probability. For example, if I were, let's say the probability of me eating an apple tomorrow, that would be about, let's say 35 to 40%. You see, the reason why it's not 100%, it's not a 100% answer, is because our decision making is so random, it's so decisive, that it's completely unpredictable. And that's why Amelia can't predict which destiny will come out to be true. Because to her, every possibility is true. It's Schrodinger's cat theory. Basically, every possibility is true until one is proven true. And this is exactly why time travel is possible as well. Because everyone thinks that if you go back in time and change something, that it will fuck with sorry, mind my profanity. That it will mess with it will mess with the entire timeline. You will fade out of existence. If you kill your grandfather, you will fade out of existence. That's incorrect. If you kill your grandfather, if you change something, that's just creating another possibility. So that now there are two possibilities in the multiverse. So yes, the multiverse has multiple destinies, but really the multiverse is only going in whichever way it's going. Sorry, pardon me for a second. Okay. So anyway, the meaning of life is to make things not so is to make things random, to make hope in a change. Because if there was no life, everything would just be one linear equation. Now, this is exactly why the term "nothing is impossible" is incorrect. Because if you were to say nothing is impossible, that's wrong. Because if you think about it, if you flipped a coin, right? If you flipped a coin, and in the way that it would be heads, and you said it was going to be tails, that's a mathematical impossibility. Because you flipped it in the way that it will be heads, or tails, or whatever. To put it simply, 1 plus 1, it's impossible for 1 plus 1 to equal 5, because 1 plus 1 will always equal 2. Unless, of course, you're in a different multiverse where there are different laws of physics and different blah, blah, blah. But that's that's irrelevant. What's relevant here is that 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's impossible for it to equal 5. Equations will always have one answer unless the consciousness is involved, because the consciousness is the only thing in existence that's completely random. It's completely decision making. It can be biased. It can be swung to. It can be one decision can be most likely to happen than the other decision, but overall, it's completely decision making. Now you might be thinking, oh, what about RNG? Like, what about random number generators? Those are completely made from algorithms. Like depending on what time it is, it takes stuff like that and tries to get a number that's as random as possible. When in reality, it's just an algorithm. It's an equation that can be calculated not by a human, but by a computer. See, the only reason why we think it's random is because we're human and we can't predict those sort of things. Basically. So, anyway, back to the story. When Amelia and George die, they pass their souls to a teddy bear. And that's Amelia's daughter's teddy bear. Amelia's daughter's name is Sarah Briller. And Amelia also transports Sarah to the 80s, I believe, 1980s, where she meets Nathan. No, not Nathan, sorry, Nathan's someone else. David Elmrick. And now in this event, Sarah and David, they create an implication in the universe, and they create an eclipse universe. Basically, what an eclipse universe in this story is basically when a universe gets disrupted, it ejects a universe where that disruption never happened into another direction, and it causes the current universe to suck up any sort of, eat up any sort of Sinic source it can find, and basically put it in some sort of limbo eclipse state. And because humans are a great source of cynical, pretty much every single human gets eaten. So it's pretty much a ghost world. It's a world with nothing. Every human, every animal, most sources of cynical are just completely eaten, except for the ones that were within the core of the implication, of course. Those are the ones that survive. Because the universe can't reach that area. And of course, David and Sarah, they survive. They have to survive this Eclipse universe, and that's when my game, which I'm going to call Home of Eclipse, comes in, where they have to survive, and eventually they have a child called Millie Elmrick. And now with Millie Elmrick has a little friend in her head called Gala Elmrick. And Gala Elmrick is another version of her that died from another universe. A universe that was in an eclipse universe, basically. And because their universes were so close, when Gala died, her consciousness, her spirit, her soul latched onto Millie. And so basically it's sort of like a dissociative identity disorder thing, where Millie and Gala sort of share the same consciousness, but of course Gala's the one in the back of the mind. And they sort of see themselves as sisters. They sort of see each other as sisters. And yeah. at the end of the story, uh, David and Sarah come to a choice whether they leave Millie and Gala all by themselves and flee back to their old universe, or they stay with Millie slash Gala uh, in the Eclipse universe until the end of until they die. Now both of those now because okay, so here's another thing. Here's another attribute to how the universe works. In the story, of course. When a universe gets overloaded with a bunch of cynical, it splits off into two different possibilities. And basically, in this event, there was so much cynical going around that those two possibilities they split. Because the reason why there was so much cynical is because David and Sarah had the opportunity to return to completely rewrite their Cynic ID in order to flee to basically a copy of their old universe. So it's not their original universe, but it is a copy of their old universe. Basically, what the copy is it's everything like the original universe, only minor changes have been changed, and of course, the probability of destiny has been changed as well. And a tiny bit of the personalities of every individual has been changed as well. So basically, in the original universe, if someone was wearing a blue t-shirt, in the copy of the universe, that t-shirt could have actually been red. So basically, think of the Mandela effect, basically. And think in that universe, those Mandela effects are actually true. Where in the original universe, those Mandela effects are actually false. That could be the reason why the Mandela effect exists in real life. But like, obviously, this is really far-fetched. This is just my game. Anyway. So in the two possibilities, in the possibility where Sarah and David flee to the copy of the world, where they go back in time to when they caused the thing, where nothing happened. So it's like nothing happened, but they're in the duplicate of the universe. And in that universe, the Eclipse universe doesn't die; it stays there, and Millie slash Gala are stuck in there, and obviously the break in the Eclipse universe turns it into what's called a shadow universe, which is basically the corpse of what used to be an Eclipse universe. Basically a shadow universe that's slowly eating itself away until it becomes nothingness. And Millie slash Gala is stuck in there. And their soul gets merged with George's soul, because George's soul was in that shadow universe. And when it merges, Gala's personality kind of becomes a hybrid of Gala and George, basically like a female version of George, basically. But at the same time, Gala's original personality is still there in the background protecting Millie. And that's basically how the antagonist of the first game that I want to make, the colors of our reality. That's how the backstory of the antagonist of that game. And I'll get to that story. In the other direction, the other split of the Eclipse universe, where Sarah and David actually stay with Gala and Millie, they stay there until inevitably David and Sarah inevitably die, leaving Millie and Gala there alone. But Millie also dies, but Gala doesn't. Gala's still in the Gala's consciousness takes over Millie's body, but Millie disappears. Basically, Millie dies on the Millie's mentality, Millie's consciousness dies and moves on to the afterlife, whatever that may be. And as a sole survivor, as the only person on Earth in their living Eclipse universe, their healthy Eclipse universe, I will add, Gala makes a promise to herself that she won't give up because she's determined. She will live on until for as long as she can. Now eventually Gala meets someone named Newton Elmric, which is the son of Sarah and David in the universe that they flee to, basically. So Gala meets Newton, and we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll go back to the bit where Sarah and David flee to the copy universe. In that universe, they have a child, and they name it Newton Elmer. Now, when Newton was very young, an event happens. An overload of Cynical happens, and splits the universe in two again. Now that event has two probabilities again. Now, obviously, the amount of Cynical depends on how many splits there are, but most likely there will be only two splits because the universe kind of has a fail-safe, really. Once it goes over the limit, that's when it splits. So that's why it's usually only two universes. Because the only way it could possibly be three universes is if it went to that number of Cynical almost instantaneously. So anyway, there's an event that happens in that universe, where in one universe, David dies in that split, but in the other split, David survives, but Sarah and Newton are the ones that die. So let's look at the universe where Sarah and Newton die and David survives. Sarah was unable to be brought back to life, but David brought Newton back to his workshop, basically. Because David was so obsessed with Cynical, because Sarah was so obsessed with Cynical, because Sarah had Cynic abilities at the time. Not strong Cynic abilities, but they were Cynic abilities nonetheless. David was very obsessed with this abnormality, whatever the word is. And he knew how Cynical worked. And he wanted to bring back Newton. He knew that he couldn't bring back Sarah because Sarah was a bit. She was gone. She was just gone. But Newton had potential. Newton's body had potential. Newton's brain still had. Newton's brain may have had some injuries, but those injuries could be repaired, and he does repair those injuries because he makes. He kind of makes this computer in Newton's brain. But that doesn't revive Newton's soul, because Newton's soul had already moved on. What he does to replace Newton's soul is he gets Sarah's teddy bear, which still has George's and Amelia's souls, or what's left of them. And he takes one of those souls, and the soul that he takes is one of George's Cynic Y personalities. And he puts that soul into Newton, and he considers this this Newton, he considers this soul, this person, a completely different person, so he renames him to Daniel. Daniel Elmer. So we have, so now we have one personality that's inside Newton's body and is now named Daniel. And Daniel is the kind of, he's the kind of, because of his computer chip, his computer brain, he's abnormally intelligent, and he's like, I don't know how to explain it. I can explain it, but I'm just really, I'm thinking about so many things. He's abnormally intelligent, and his reflexes are almost instantaneous, like a computer, basically. You can think of a bunch of equations in just the span of a second. So his brain works as a computer, basically, because of how David fixed Daniel. His personality, to explain, he's kind of like the Doctor from Doctor Who, like the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, basically, but a very kind of egotistical version, kind of like an egotistical personality, with a hint of Doctor Who, 11th Doctor Matt Smith, maybe a bit of 10th Doctor, but he's also got that ego. He's very charismatic. And he's basically just like, he's a bit of a douche, but he's a respectable douche, to say the least. He's an over-intelligent, respectable douche. That's the best way I can explain him. So now focusing on the other split, where David is the one that dies. So in this split, David dies, and Sarah and Newton are the ones that survive. So Newton Elmerich is still alive, still a person. And obviously Newton has problems, right? Newton's personality has problems. He has OCD, he has Tourette's, like me. I can't really. He likes to draw. Basically, he's a Sinic Y type. Daniel's also a Sinic Y type, but unlike Daniel, Newton's very shy. Newton's like a small boy, basically. He's got a white stripe on his hair. Basically, that's basically how I'm thinking of making him look. But Newton's adorable, alright? Little Newt. I made the name as cute as possible. He's a cute little boy. Anyway, but this little boy has problems. Newton obviously has he has Sinic ability. He gets Sinic abilities later. Sorry, he doesn't have Sinic abilities yet, but he does get them later on. Sorry. And he has problems. He has ADHD. He has a bit of autism. He has Asperger's. He has Tourette's. He has OCD. He has a lot of problems. Like me. And yeah, he likes to draw. He likes to draw. And basically his metaphor is basically, he likes to draw what could be. He likes to draw the potential of the future, basically. Unlike Amelia, who likes to draw the future itself. But the way Amelia draws the future isn't completely like, it's not a direct image of what the future will look like. It's more or less like a feel, basically. Like if Amelia were to draw a galaxy, she would call that galaxy eternity. Look. To Amelia, this is eternity. Space, the universe, everything in the universe is eternity. that's what Amelia sees. That's how Amelia sees eternity. If she were, another example is she might draw like a tree, or uh, or a or a planet, or just or some sort of pattern, and she will call that life. She will also she'll draw life, she'll draw death, she'll draw fire, she'll draw grief, she'll draw despair. She knows what they look like. She has a bit of synesthesia as well, so she can really feel, she can really taste the colors of what those possibilities, what those destinies will be. And she likes to draw the past, you see. And she doesn't like to draw the past, right? She likes to write about the past. You see, what Amelia is, she's an artist in terms of drawing, story writing, and poetry. And those three things are important. Don't get me wrong. Those three things are important. I will get to that. So she writes about the past, basically. In metaphors mostly. Like, it's not like a history biography. It's more or less like a fiction, like symbolism of what the past used to be. Basically, if she were to write about the era of the Romans or something, she wouldn't just write about Romans. She'd maybe write about like I'm not really good with history, so I'm not going to pick Romans because I don't know what happens there. But the Native Americans, we'll say, even though that probably hasn't happened yet. I don't know. I don't know my history. But let's just theoretically, let's just say that it has happened. If she were to write a history about how the Europeans invaded the Native Americans, she wouldn't use she wouldn't use the actual Europeans. She wouldn't actually use the Native Americans. She'd use metaphors. She'd use symbolism. She might write a story about how a bunny rabbit came to a snake's den and stole all their food or something. Basically representing how the Native Americans colonized, not the Native Americans, sorry, the Europeans colonized the America, thinking it's India, and basically the Indians, not the Indians, the Native Americans, fought back and stuff like that. I don't know my history, but I hope you know what I mean. Oh, has stream paused? Sorry, my internet's a bit weird. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Newton. Newton goes on meeting the corrupt Gala eventually. And the corrupt Gala transports Newton to another universe, and then to the universe, to the Eclipse universe, trapping Newton to the Eclipse universe. So, anyway, long story short, Newton gets transported to the Eclipse universe because of the corrupt Gala, the Gala that was left and forgotten in the Eclipse universe by her parents, and managed to escape using the cynical around her. And Newton gets transported to the Eclipse universe, and wouldn't you know it, that Eclipse universe is where the Gala is that wasn't abandoned. Remember that? When Gala meets, remember how I said how Gala meets Newton? That's when Gala meets Newton, basically. Words. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Time to introduce another character. We've got Daniela and another split of her, which I don't know what she's going what she's going to be called, because, well, the protagonist of The Colors of Reality is a trans female, basically, and her dead name is Danny. And I haven't figured out what her chosen name is yet, so we're just gonna call her Other Daniela. Okay, let's call her Other Daniela. So Other Daniela, basically, is a trans woman, trans girl. She would be about 16, 17 at the time. And basically, she finds, she has this best friend called Nathan Halfschmidt. See, I said Nathan before, and by accident. Nathan Halfschmidt is the person that Other Daniela and Daniela is friends with. So they're both okay. So I'm gonna get this out of the way. Daniela and Other Daniela are basically they're the same person, the same timeline, the same past, but from a different split. You see, they're the same personality, but one split involved Daniela, who is actually biologically female because she swapped forms, not bodies, forms with the corrupted Gala, or the future corrupted Gala, after the events of The Colors of Our Reality. I'll get to that, but long story short, that's when Daniela gets Sinic abilities, because it was traumatizing for her. And that's also why her name is Daniela, which is a feminine version of her dead name, because at the time she didn't know she was trans, so she didn't have gender dysphoria about her name. So she didn't care, so she just kept her name to be Danny, but the feminine version. And eventually she realized that she did like being female, and obviously she didn't have gender dysphoria in the first place. Well, obviously she would have, but she didn't have gender dysphoria revolving around her name. So she kept her name, basically, but just the feminine version. Other Daniela Other Daniela, basically, is the split where she doesn't swap forms with the future Other Gala. Not Other Gala, future corrupted Gala. And basically this is just the concept. This is how one. Okay, so this is how Other Daniela and Daniela, they're both the exact same person, but one single event have made them two completely different people. Daniela is more of the happy type, more of the jumpy, energetic sort of go-getter, basically. INFJ sort of. She's the hyperactive. She might have ADHD. I don't know, but like she's healthy, mentally healthy. She has her best friend Nathan becomes her boyfriend. Nathan Halfschmidt. So they're really close. And yeah, Nathan's personality is a bit tricky. His personality is still a bit under development, basically. I still haven't really thought of Nathan's personality. I know that he's most likely going to be English. That's really it. I know Nathan is most likely Sinic powered by Sinic Y. If he ever did get Sinic Y, that would be his personality. And he's sort of like the determined type. He's the type that wouldn't give up. He's the type that no matter what would knock him down, he would always get up and try and fight harder. That's his strengths, basically. His weaknesses are, His weaknesses would be that he's not really as open-minded as he should be. He can be very close-minded. His thoughts can be very linear, basically. Now having linear thoughts isn't a bad thing. Having a closed-minded is a weakness. Having a closed mind, and that's his weakness because he can be very closed-minded at times, and that's why he has Daniela to open his mind, because Daniela is a very intuitive type. When Nathan is more of the sort of reality type, basically. He's more of a realistic. He's more realistic, basically, than he believes in what's most likely, basically. He likes to see what's like, he's the realistic type. He's not as much of a visionary, and he's not as intuitive, but he's the realistic type. He's really down to earth, and that's basically how I'm thinking Nathan's personality would be. Now, with that being said, other Daniela is a lot more mentally unstable, because it's been time. They know they're trans now, and they now have gender dysphoria. They do present as female, and they do use their chosen name, which I haven't chosen yet. Sorry, text. But in other Danielas, in other Danielas universe, Nathan actually dies, and that's what really gets other Daniela to break. So basically, other Daniela is basically, her problem is that she can't let her emotions go. She can't cry. She wishes she could, but she can't. She can't let go of the past. She doesn't understand why she feels the way she does. She doesn't understand why she's always so angry. She understands that she's trans, but she doesn't understand how to fix her emotions. So, at this point, other Daniela doesn't have Sinic powers yet. But Daniela does have Sinic powers. She's happy. She has Sinic powers. She's really good at she's really good at her Sinic abilities. She has Sinic X. She likes to fold the third dimension in order to teleport from one place to another. She likes to teleport other things around her and stuff like that. And she's able to see colors more brightly, if that makes sense. With other Daniela, the parallel between other Daniela and Daniela, even though they are the same person, because they have different pasts, because they have different traumas, they're completely different people. Even though they are one and the same. They are similar, and they have the exact same personality, but the way they act is completely different, basically. So anyway, in the event, other Daniela goes to this forest where Nathan used to hang out. Nathan and other Daniela used to hang out. This is the same. They go into this treehouse, basically, and that's where And that's where other Nathan's grave is, basically. Or it's not his official grave, but it's the grave that other Daniela created. It's a marking on a tree underneath the treehouse that Sarah and David created, and also the treehouse that Daniela, other Daniela, and the Nathans colonized, if you will. They use it as their little hideout to get away, to escape reality for a bit. So when sorry, I'm taking again. I'll get my face right. I think my face is bleeding. Sorry. My face is on fire right now. Anyway, when other Daniela really breaks, she hears something. She hears Nathan's voice. Now this is because the other parallel universe with Daniela and Nathan are actually in the treehouse, and you know they're doing what they usually do. Daniela's kind of messing with Nathan with her abilities and stuff like that. They're going to the treehouse, but then they notice something. They notice a crow, a Sinic crow, a crow made of cynical, and they decide to follow it. And what they find, and as they follow the crow, what they find is Newton. Basically, Gala. This is the part where Gala transported Newton to a universe, and they sort of interrogate Newton a bit. And after a bit of dialogue, the universe breaks. Their universe becomes an Eclipse universe because of the corrupted Gala. The corrupted Gala made the universe an Eclipse universe, trapping Daniela in that universe. And Newton, obviously, gets transported to the Eclipse universe that Gala is in. Gala Kathleen Elmerk. Kathleen is her middle name, by the way. I haven't mentioned that yet. Her last name is Elmer, so there's that. And basically, on the parallel side of other Daniela's parallel universe, because the universes are getting so close together, they're clashing together. Other Daniela can hear Daniela and Nathan, and because other Daniela lost her best friend Nathan, pardon me, and obviously she's grieving. She obviously follows the voice and she kind of sees Nathan, but she also at the same time doesn't see that. She knows that he's not there, but she can see Nathan there, and that obviously confuses her and also gives her hope. And now when Daniela and Nathan follow the crow and go to Newton, blah blah blah, other Daniela follows, and other Daniela actually gets crossed in with all this bollocks, and other Daniela gets transported to Daniel's parallel universe, and that's how Daniela meets Daniel. And that's basically how the story of The Color of Our Reality starts. It's not, that's mostly what I have so far. I only really have the start and the end of the Colors of Reality story. I know at the end there are two universes. Nathan uh, in the universe, in in the in the original universe that hasn't split yet. Uh, Newton, Daniela, and Nathan go on to fight other Gala, or corrupted Gala, mind me. And corrupted Gala ends up killing Daniela. And obviously, and even though they've weakened corrupted Gala, she's not fully defeated. And because Daniela died, and her cynical is sort of kind of rising from her body, kind of, particles. Nathan abstracts the cynical from Daniela, and uses that power from his grief and determination and despair to he sort of explodes in a he doesn't physically explode, but he uses cynical and makes it a giant explosion, which causes it's an explosion of anger and hatred towards the other Gala, which causes the universe to go back in time and split off. And in the split, Newton, Daniela, and Nathan don't attack. Don't go for the attack for Gala, but instead, other Daniela, and Nathan go instead. Obviously, Newton has to take care of Gala instead of Daniela taking care of Gala. So in this split, Daniela's the one that goes with other Daniela is the one that goes with Daniela and Nathan instead of Newton, if that makes sense. And because other Daniela is more mature and understands and has understood the emotions properly and has grown as a person throughout the story, throughout the game, she doesn't go for the kill. She stops Nathan before taking that blow, and instead of trying to kill Gala, she tries to free her, which she successfully does, but in turn ends up so what she does basically is she gives up her Sinic ID to the corrupted Gala, and makes a promise that the Millie inside of corrupted Gala will be safe, and Gala accepts the deal, and basically Gala and the corrupted Gala dies off and goes to whatever the afterlife is, leaving Millie in her own body. And obviously, since now other Daniela is linked with a Sinic ID of a universe that doesn't really have any cynical anymore, other Daniela sort of fades away, leaving the reality and moving on to the afterlife, because she dies basically because she doesn't have because everything is built off of cynical, and because she doesn't have any proper Sinic source besides the Eclipse, the shadow universe that was created by Sarah and David a long time ago. She fades away, accepting the fact that this should have happened a long time ago. She should have sacrificed herself to save the multiverse a very long time ago, and she sacrifices herself for corrupted Gala to finally let go and let Millie take charge. And obviously, and Gala was promised that Millie would be taken care of by the healthy Gala, the Gala that isn't corrupted, that version of Gala. And obviously, since Gala and Millie are sisters, and they are now in their own person, their own form, they can physically hug each other now, and it's adorable. They're like actual sisters. They look the same because they're the same body and shit, but now they're physically able to interact with each other. So that's the end of the first Colors of Our Reality. The cliffhanger really is that the parallel universe that where Nathan created the explosion is still alive, and corrupted Gala is still thriving. Now, after that, the corrupted Gala gets transported to the past and goes to the time where Daniela and other Daniela split, basically, where Daniela splits from the Daniela timeline to the other Daniela timeline. Basically, she goes to that timeline because corrupted Gala is the causation of that split, and the reason being is that corrupted Gala swaps forms with Daniela, and basically that turns Daniela into a biological female and corrupted Gala into a biological male, because they swapped forms, basically. And obviously Gala didn't swap forms because of a gender thing, even though their personality is entirely influenced by George's personality. So basically, they don't really care what sex they are because, they're kind of both genders, basically. They're gender fluid because they're both Gala and George at the same time, really. But that's not the... So, obviously, corrupted Gala didn't swap forms in order to become male. They swapped forms in order to leech off of the cynical from Daniela's universe. George needed a new Sinic ID because Gala needed a new source of Sinic ID because corrupted Gala was slowly getting weaker and weaker because her original universe was a shadow universe, and it was next to nothing, basically. So there was no new cynical being created. She was just holding off on the cynical that she already had. So what she needed to do to survive was to leech off of another Sinic ID in order to stay alive. So she did a form swapping with Daniela, which caused other Gala's Sinic ID to sort of stay the same, but have a secondary sort of leeching, a sort of metaphorical pipeway to the other cynical, so they could feed off of that cynical from that universe. Now, obviously, that's enough to last quite a bit more time, quite a few more years. But obviously, it's not enough to live forever, because in the second game of the Colors of Our Reality, they show signs of being weak, and they do need to, in order for them to survive, they do need to move on. Well, they can't survive because, but I won't spoil anything for that because that's when it does get into parts where I'm still in development and shit. So, there's a lot to unpack. Hello. I'm just talking about my game and stuff, and just the existence and stuff. The existence of my game and how my game is going to work out. So anyway, that's basically... that was a lot to say. That was a lot to speak. I want to go back to the... sorry, I'm ticking again. I want to go back to the theory of everything, the theory of life, basically. The reason why we exist, the meaning of life, the reason why us humans, us animals, the reason why we exist isn't just to reproduce. I mean, sure, that's an attribute. We don't just exist for the heck of it. We exist because our consciousness is the only thing that's random. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that if there was no humans, if there was no animals, if there wasn't any consciousnesses, then everything would just be a linear equation. Everything would only lead to one destiny. But you see, that would be just a really shit universe, wouldn't it? If it was just a single possibility, 100%. So if you add our consciousnesses, our conscience, and humanity, if you add all the animals, everything that has a consciousness, everything that has decision making, then it adds randomness, it adds decisions to our universe, which causes our universe to have multiple destinies. Not infinite destinies though, mind you, because time and space can only be so specific that it has a limit, basically. And I think I googled it. I think it was like 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 7, which is a really big number. But that's obviously that's just an estimate of a secondary source. And basically, all you need to know is that the amount of possibilities in our multiverse isn't infinite. It's just an extraordinarily big number. Because time and space can only be so specific. Because length can only be as small as Planck length. Time can only be so small until reality breaks. Things like that, and that's what causes our universe, our multiverse, to have only a certain amount of possibilities. Now, with our destinies, the idea of fate doesn't really exist, because if you think of the word fate, if you say that fate exists, you're basically saying that there's only one destiny. There's only one thing that can happen in life. There's only one conclusion. But the thing is, there's not one conclusion. There's a very large amount of conclusions. The number I referenced before, the estimate, 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 7. A lot of stuff. Every possibility is extraordinarily unlikely. But every possibility, every future possibility, they all exist, right? But they don't. But once one is proven true, that's when the others are proven false. It's Schrodinger's, whatever his name is, Schrodinger's cat theory, where if the cat in the box and there's 50% chance that the cat in the box is alive or dead. But at the same time, that cat is in both states of being alive and dead, because no one knows the outcome of that, of what that, of whether the cat is alive or dead. Because both possibilities could be true. It's a 50% chance. So because both possibilities are true, yeah, both possibilities are true until one possibility is proven otherwise, is basically the ideology. And that Schrodinger's cat theory is put into this theory, but in an extraordinarily large range. We're talking about every single possibility, every single destiny is just a big Schrodinger's theory. I fumble his name a lot, I'm sorry. Basically meaning every possibility, every future possibility is correct. But until one possibility is proven, but only one possibility can be proven otherwise. Unless, of course, you go back in time and you create another timeline, in which case there'd be two possibilities. Which is why time travel is entirely impossible. Which is why time travel is entirely possible. Because if you go back in time, people always assume that if you kill your grandfather, then you will fade out of existence because you never existed, and it will create a paradox. But the thing is, that's not true. If you kill your grandfather, you're not changing your universe. You're just creating a new universe where you don't exist. And that creates two timelines. Nothing isn't just one straight line. Everything, things are multiple different branches. They branch off into different things. So you would still exist because you're from the future where you didn't kill your grandfather, when you caused the possibility where you did kill your grandfather. So both possibilities, both universes exist simultaneously, if that makes sense. Gee whiz, it's a lot to unpack. But basically, that's basically my entire theory. My theory of everything, if you will. I actually watched that movie a few hours ago. It was pretty interesting. I don't know. I wish I could have met Stephen Hawking, but obviously he's dead, so I can't really. Maybe if you somehow go back to the past, you know, and branch off to a universe where he didn't fucking have a head injury, you know. See in that movie, for example, it gave the idea of everything leading to just unlikely possibilities. Because okay, think of it this way. Think of a friend that you have, that because of that friend, you know another friend, and because of that friend, you know another friend, and another friend, and so on and so on. Think of a possibility where you didn't meet the original friends that created that friend chain. You would have never met those friends ever. So that's why all your friends are just so unlikely that you've ever met them. And think of another and now this also means that there are possibilities where you could have met people that would have been your best friends, but they aren't your best friends. So people who you could have met, you haven't. And people who you have met, also you couldn't, there's possibilities where you could not have met them. It's the butterfly theory, basically. And it's really interesting to think about. Because you think about how different things would be when you didn't know, if you've never met your best friends. If there's been a life-changing thing that's happened in your life, imagine how different your life would be if that never happened. Small things make big changes, and that's what all of destiny is. It's all just one big equation of probability. It's not an equation that results in an answer, it's an equation that results in a probability. Basically, if I were to say that I was going to eat an apple today, I'm going back to this. if I were to say I was going to eat an apple today, what's the probability of me actually eating an apple? Now, if I were to say that I was going to eat an apple, and I want to eat an apple, the probability of me eating an apple is probably like 99%, right? But there's still a 1% chance where I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, I don't want to eat an apple. Obviously, this is just an example. I don't really like apples that much. The texture's a bit weird. But you see what I mean, though. Basically, things branch off into different probabilities. And yeah, that's my theory of everything. That's my theory of existence. That's why we exist. People always say that we exist just for the sake of existing, just to reproduce. But it's much more than that. We exist for a purpose. We exist to make destiny more than one equation. We exist to make destiny a probability and not an answer. That's why it's impossible to predict the future. Because it's entirely possible to predict a possibility, but it's impossible to predict the destiny that you will go on to experience, because there are many destinies and there are many possibilities, but mathematically you can't predict which destiny is the destiny that will come true, because theoretically all destinies are already true, but only one of them becomes true. Because once one of them becomes true, the rest of them becomes false, until you go back in time and you create the other destiny. And yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. I explain my game, I explain my theories of existence. And yeah, I should be a professor. I don't know. It's just really fun to talk about these sort of things, really. I don't know. I thought about these things in my head. I was talking to a friend about these things, and I thought, you know what, this would be really good to record. This would be really good to stream. So obviously, I set up this camera, and I just recorded. I just started recording. Shit. I started recording my words and shit, and I just started rambling about what my game is, and how I believe that how my point of view of existence, my point of view of our reality, basically. So that's my banter, if you will. Do any of you have any questions? If you have any questions, I'm glad you've come over to watch this stream. I wasn't actually expecting anyone to be here. I just wanted to really just stream it and record it. Really, I just wanted to. No. Okay, that's fine. If any of you play VRChat, I actually made a map I actually made a map called Darkness of Eclipse, and that's basically my first step of creating my game / story. Darkness of Eclipse is about being trapped in an Eclipse universe, and it's a horror game. You have to survive what's called the unvermeidlich, meaning the inevitable, or just the unver, meaning the unchanged. This is obviously German because Amelia's heritage was German because her father was German. So she uses German terminologies in some of her metaphors. You want to see the map? Yeah, sure. Uh, new instance, invite only. Okay, let's go. Hopefully this doesn't break the camera. Wait for it. Oh. Okay, it's a bit laggy. I am working on it. So, here it is. It's really laggy. I'm very sorry. I am working on it to make it better. But basically, it says, "Welcome to the Darkness of Eclipse horror experience. This is a horror map designed for Spookality 2020, which it is. It will challenge your wills to survive within the depths of an Eclipse universe, a universe that has been destroyed, buried, and forgotten. You may play by yourself or with friends. To enter the horror experience, activate the crystal in the settings to your left and press the red crystal to your right." So here's the settings. We've got the mirror options. Obviously there's one that's low, one that's high, depending on your height. And we've got the background music, and it says background music toggle only affects the Sinic Forest, this area, and will not affect the horror experience. So obviously there's the crystal over there, and also there's a butterfly. You can see the butterfly, little detail I added. So if you activate, oh, come on, there it is. So activated crystal, and this is what the crystal looks like activated. You want me to play it? Sure, I'll play it. Start experience. So it's a lot less laggy here, obviously. Yeah, that's UI, so you can't see that, but I'll read it to you. It says, "This horror experience may not be for the faint of..." Actually, I'll go up so I can see it better. Where are you? There you are. You can't see it because it's tagged, because it's in the UI layer, so you can't really see it. But I'll just read it. "This horror experience may not be the faint of heart. If you get scared easily or don't like psychological horror, this map may not be for you. But you may proceed if you have what it takes to survive the Eclipse world. This experience focuses more on psychological horror than jump scares, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any jump scares at all. If you wish to return to the Sinic Forest, the spawn area, there is a button to teleport you back along with an option on the right to toggle hard mode. It is recommended to have the world sound settings from 80% to 100%. Using modded clients within the experience may result in bugs, obviously. If you are playing with friends, please wait for everyone to be in the room before pressing the start button below. If you are playing alone, you may proceed at any time. Good luck." So that's what that says. Would you like me to try my best to set up a first-person view of my stream before doing this, or do you think this is okay? Okay, I would just play it like this until you say otherwise. Hang on, let me actually just get yoink. Let me just yoink the chat right there, just so. Actually, no, I can figure this out. I'll just add a what is it? Is it display capture? I think probably, yeah. Hang on, hold in there. Hold in there. Hang in there. No, I think this is the wrong one actually. No, hide that. Which one is it? Window capture. Here we go. Window capture. I should probably turn on. Yeah, I'll turn on Oculus Mirror. Oh, you're leaving? That's okay. I'll still play it, you know, just to tickle anyone's fancy that ever joins this. just to tickle anyone's fancy on it. Can I delete? Hang on, maybe I gotta go cancel. How do I delete? Oh, remove. Okay. How do I delete? Remove. Okay, add. Remove. I'm figuring this out, don't worry. Window capture. Mirror. Wait, is this it? Wait. Oh, here it is. Hey, there we go. Wait, is this it? Wait. Oh, here it is. Hey, so I'll put this full screen just like that. And game capture, I'll put at top layer. And I'll make it smaller. I'll put it at the bottom right. Hey, look at that. I'm a streamer. Look at that. Hey, look at that. How does this look? Look at that. This look a bit better? How does this look? Hope so. This look a bit better? So anyway, let's go ahead and start this experience. Let's go ahead and start this experience.
Time is like a piece of string.
Hang on, let me
It
just...
helps us understand how one thing leads to another.
There's an echo.
We use time every day to tell us when to eat, sleep, and to wake up in the morning. Now, obviously, time is much more complicated than just a schedule. It's one of the most fundamental building blocks of our existence and keeps the universe from falling apart. But there's a flaw with time. It's delicate and can break very, very easily. And when time breaks,
I'm probably going to put this on my main channel,
the
actually.
universe shall burn.
You know, I might as well. So, as you can see, grab the right of your hip to grab your flashlight. And ta-da! We've got... Obviously, I haven't got as much yet. Obviously, this is the bathroom, as you can see. There's a bit of tree there. I might fix that. There's not really anything in there. This is just yada. Da-da-da. I have to go this way because of OCD. Even though I haven't been diagnosed, but come on. Come on. If you know, you know. Come on. Anyway. This room will be important. This is the storage room. Alright? So, there's that. This is the art room. And this is actually a drawing of a friend of mine who recommended this room to be an art room because I was stuck on what room this should be. And obviously I wanted to put a little Easter egg of her in this room. So there we go. It took me about an hour to make. Maybe 2 hours actually. And yeah. So let's go downstairs. So we can see the rest of the house. Blah blah blah. Let's have a look at this. This is where the kitchen will be. Obviously there's some grass there. I will fix that. Wait, no. This is the dining area. This is the kitchen. Right here. This is the laundry room. Obviously you can't go out here because the door is stuck. Cannot be open. Now, fun fact. I actually haven't modeled the back half of the house. There's a bit of a glitch there actually. I might fix that in the full release. I actually haven't modeled the back half of the house because I didn't need to, because obviously I'm not going to, you're not going to be able to go that way. I think you can actually, yeah, you can see that there's no back half, there's no back of the house. So anyway, this is the hallway. This is another bathroom. And this is the study room. And this is the lounge room. And obviously we're back to where we started. I'm going to go back because I need to... Obviously you can disable your flashlight by letting go. Oh yeah, I should probably turn both settings up. And this is what the atmosphere looks like. Obviously, I have the flowers to guide you to where you need to go. And we'll listen to the monologue of
Hello?
me. My beautiful voice acting.
I can hear something. Someone is here. Who are you? You're not from here, aren't you? You're from somewhere else. Somewhere far, far away. Don't be afraid. I know what it's like. Waking up in a darkness you've never seen before. It can be terrifying. You shouldn't be out here. It's not safe.
And this
Stop!
bit is
Don't
where
move.
you're not allowed to move.
She's right
Because we
If
have
you've looked at her
das
already, do not
unvermeidlich
lose your
right
gaze,
here.
otherwise she will snap.
Now, I'm going
I
to
don't
kill
want to make you
myself
panic.
just
In
to
fact,
show a
please
little
don't
scene.
panic. Otherwise you won't.
Obviously, the jump scares aren't really the best because I couldn't really get the overlay to work properly. But let's listen to this monologue, shall we?
It all ends the same way, doesn't it? Every possibility, all possible timelines, and they all end with the same conclusion. There's got to be a way out of this, right? There's got to be a way I can change the inevitable. Am I just destined to roam this world until the end of eternity? No. I can prove that I can change destiny. No matter how many timelines it will take. Even if it means I have to reset our reality itself.
Obviously, the doors do the open animation when they get enabled. I will hopefully fix that in the full release. I think there's also a directional light in this prologue, but I'm not entirely sure because everything does seem to be a bit blue and bright, doesn't it? That's okay. That's an easy fix. Just turn off the directional light, I guess. I do need to fix lighting, though. Lighting is something I need to work on. Hello? Come on.
You died, didn't you?
Different monologue,
I
alright.
can see a split in the timeline. Did something happen to me? Or did you just not listen?
Hear that passive aggressiveness in Amelia? Oh yeah, by the way, I should probably explain what that scene was, basically. Basically, that was us dying. And because Amelia is in our head right now, that's why we can hear her voice. We saw what happened to her in that destiny. We saw what happened to that in that future. So Amelia, because she's a complex being, she has the personality 4 times bigger, 4 times more powerful than than a normal personality because of the experiments that her father did on her and her brother. Sorry. She's actually she was actually sorry. I'm getting jumbled again. I'm sorry. What happened basically was we saw what happened to Amelia in that destiny where we died. What happened is she said to herself that she saw all the possibilities and the probabilities of her staying in in this Eclipse universe forever were higher than the probability of us letting her escape. But what she did was she reset the universe, and basically she reset the universe to the point of us waking up, and she doesn't remember because she didn't delete the universe per se. She didn't delete the timeline. If she did delete the timeline, we wouldn't remember and we wouldn't learn from it. So we just keep repeating the same thing over and over again. That timeline still existed. She just teleported everything back. She transported everything back to the time where we woke up. But we still have the memory of dying. And that's how we learn. But Amelia doesn't remember that possibility, but she can still see it. Because Amelia sees every possibility and every destiny. And she also sees every destiny that has happened. She sees every split. She can sense it. She can feel it. She has the synesthesia. She can feel the split. She can feel the colors drifting off into a different area. She can feel us dying. She can see it in her brain. It's hazy, but she can sense that we did die. She can also sense how many times we died, and she doesn't care if she has to reset the reality itself, which would mean that if she did reset the reality, she would reset absolutely everything, meaning there's a possibility that she might not even be born. Which is also a very high possibility, because resetting reality would just cause everything to reset. Just time itself reset. Everyone you know will be completely different. Every person, every individual, every time itself, how the planets are, will be completely different. Well, maybe not the planets, because the planets don't have decision making. The solar system would still most likely be the same, because this space doesn't have decision making. It's all mathematical equations. Us as tiny little beings, stuck in this little Earth, are the ones that make decisions, and we're the ones that shape our world. So she doesn't care if she has to reset this universe millions and millions and millions of times. If she does find a reality, if she does end up giving up, she will reset the reality, meaning she will reset everything. She will reset time. And basically, that's what that cutscene meant. Anyway, moving on.
It's okay. We all make mistakes, especially when we're scared. You should return to the house. She might still be out here.
Obviously, that's her switching up again. She went from being passive-aggressive to being sort of sympathetic, because she's got a very complex personality. She's all over the place with her emotions. She's all over the place with how she treats people. She's a bit bipolar, I guess you could say. Anyway.
Look, I know you're confused, but I can explain. That was the ghost of this world. She's been here a lot longer than even I have. She's nothing but an old stencil of anger and hate, made up of memories from the distant past and the inevitable future. Whoever she once was, or whatever form it once possessed, had been disbanded for a very, very long time. I call her the unvermeidlich, meaning the inevitable, or just the unfer, meaning the unchanged. She's her own biggest threats, her own biggest regrets, the dark to remember, the light to forget. Oh, thank God. Home
Home
sweet
sweet
home,
home,
am
am
I
I
right?
right? Yeah,
You must
you
be
must be
exhausted.
exhausted.
Why
Why
don't you
don't you
take a
take a
nap?
nap?
Don't
Don't
worry.
worry.
I'll
I'll
still
still
be
be
here
up
for when you
when you
wake
wake
up.
up. I remember this like that.
And who knows? Maybe
Maybe
this is
this is all
all just a
just a
bad
bad
dream.
dream. Anyway, this is the end of the prologue.
Wake up.
Wake up. And we are here. Obviously, yeah, as you can see, this is a lot darker because in the non-prologue, the directional light has actually been turned off. It's a lot more laggy. Uh, there is no tree colliders, so yeah.
Welcome back. I don't mean to alarm you, but you've been asleep for approximately 7.5 years. Well,
Well,
this
this
version
version
of
of
you
you
has.
has. Sorry for the lag. I really do apologize.
Have you ever stopped to think about how small we are? Not just to our
reality.
universe, but to our reality as well.
Yeah, fuck it.
People always assume that the multiverse is infinite because of how big it is. But if you take into consideration that time and space can only be so specific, you'll find that eternity is very much finite.
It's so laggy.
It's
Oh
as
my
beautiful
gosh. I
as
need
it
to
is
fix this.
terrifying to think about. The fact that we will eventually repeat things due to our universe running out of original events. Or maybe the future has already happened. Sorry. I forgot how wonderful it was to share my thoughts and ideas with other people.
It's so laggy.
Did I ever tell you how interesting your ideas were? Or how I
Scary
loved
bit,
all
scary
those
bit.
lost times when all we did was just talk and talk. Of course, you wouldn't remember.
It is
We could
very
go back
laggy.
to those
I'm
times,
so
you
sorry.
know. Maybe once you stop being afraid again, we could go back to being best friends forever. I missed you so much.
I really need to work on the optimization of this world. I will try my best. It is very laggy. It's mostly laggy because I'm streaming as well, so...
When you were alive, you built a gate around this forest and hid the 7 keys to the gate throughout in an attempt to keep the Unfa out. But in your hurry, you forgot the possibility that she might already be within the gates. And that's how your story came to a dark conclusion. I wrote a poem in order to remember where you hid those keys, but it's missing something. I feel like I used to know what was missing, but now I don't. It goes a little something like this. Remember the past.
Oh my goodness, it's a laggy as
Learn
fuck.
who you were. Resist what you couldn't. Fix where it hurts. Breathe in the air. Break through the pain. Reject the unver.
Alright, we ready? You ready to activate Das Unfair? Das Unvermeidlich? Even though it is laggy as fuck. Remember the past. I'll try my best to complete this, despite the lag. So you need to find 7 keys. And you also have to try not to die. So no, that's just... Oh my gosh, it is so I did not expect it to be this laggy. This is ridiculous. I think I can hear her. I can hear her. Where are you? Yeah, I can see the light. Come on. Come on, you. There you are. She fucking A-posed, bruh. She'd be like A-posed, bruh. Yeah, the reason why it's lagging is because I'm streaming. And because of the fucking trees. I have optimized it as best as I could. There is no directional light. Trust me, it could be a lot worse. Trust me. So is this... Yep. Second key. Well, technically, I guess this fifth key. But, you know, we're doing this out of order. I can hear her. I'm determined to get it. Oh my gosh. So laggy. Please. It's so laggy. Bro, if I can do this with all this lag. You have no idea. It is... It's literally like running at 3 frames per second. I think it, you know, I think it actually is running at 3 frames per second. No, 4 frames per second, I guess. Actually, I think it's 5 frames per second. Yeah, I see you. I see you. Oh, she was chasing me. Well. Obviously, it's not recommended to... If you haven't got that much of a beefed up computer, you shouldn't stream this because you will fucking die. Oh, jeez. Here's another key. Now we need this hammer. There you are. I'm gonna look at you. Good. Now there is a tiny Easter egg behind this shed. I might put something back here in the full release. What do you think should be back here? I could put anything here. How are you enjoying the map so far? I hope you're having fun. I put a lot of effort into this map, and I will make the full release a great experience. Oh, are you still reading? You're vulnerable out here, you know. The Unfa could be right behind you, but what would I know? So yeah, the Unfa obviously wasn't behind me. Wait, was she? No. Okay. I have the sledgehammer. Quick tip, don't die while holding the sledgehammer because otherwise you will have to die again to make the hammer respawn. Because obviously when you die, all tools get put back to their original place. But if you die while holding one of those tools, that tool will just kind of zip out of existence, basically. Or zip to an unknown location. Where is this? Oh, I can hear her. She's to my right. Wherever the fuck she is. Hey, where are ya? I don't see the light. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go for the safe first because I don't trust my capabilities of fucking getting the safe open in a high tier difficulty of the ghost. Because the more keys you have, the more difficult the Das Unfa will be. Where is this Unfa? Oh my gosh. She's gonna start chasing if I don't find her soon. Doesn't really matter if she chases me though, because she is in a low tier, so she is a bit slow. I can hear her breathing. Where the fuck are you? Oh, is that you? Wait, is that the... I hear her. Oh. There she is. There you are. Hey, Unfa, do you know where the safe is? Yeah, that's right. You fucking bitch. Bruh. Anyway, safe is this way, I believe. There's the gate, so the safe is to the right. Now, the safe is actually a fun part, you know, breaking open the safe. Is this the little... Wait, is this the... No, this isn't. Wait, where do I go? Oh, it's this way. Here we go. Okay. There's the safe. Look at it. Okay, I did breathe in the air. Okay, so it's just this one. 1, 2, 3. It is so laggy. Oh my gosh, pick it up. Break through the pane. That's right. Hallo, das Unfall. Das unvermeidlich. Wie geht's? That means, how are you in German? German. I know a little bit of German. I did German classes in secondary school. When I was in secondary school. I do TAFE now, actually. So I don't do high school anymore, I do TAFE. I study game design. Because that's my passion. Hello, that's one fun. This project has taken me 2 months to learn how to make VRChat maps. And it's taken me 2 months to make. So in that span. And I made this solely for Spookality. And also for the fact that I wanted to make a start on my game. And story. So when this game is finally fully released and fully optimized and the whole story of this particular game is out, I will work on the colors of our reality, hopefully. I'm burping a lot, I'm sorry. So basically what you do is, where the light is, just look at it until the ghost disappears. If you look away, you're fucked. Basically. Especially if she's in the high tier, because if she's in the high tier, she might be faster than you, and you won't be able to escape her. Now, I think I fucked up here, because the last key, or the second last key, is inside the house. And that's a bit of a gray area for me. That's a bit of a nutter. The house is a bit of an unsafe place. If I can do this with this lag without dying... Right, you guys gotta check a follow, honestly. Like, you guys should be proud of me. I think the house is this way. Get out of here, unvermeidlich. Yeah, that's right. Is the house here? Come on, show me the money. Show me the money. Come on. Is this it? I think this is it. Yes? Yeah, there we go. Second last key. Actually, this is good for testing something, actually. Where is this ghost? I don't want her to fucking spawn inside the house, because that would be very bad. I want her deactivated as soon as possible. Oh, she's over there. She's over there. Can I don't think I can. Can I? Yes. Okay, get out. Deactivate her. Get out. Go away. Go away! Okay, good. Good, good. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Get the key, get the key. So, fun fact, the corpse in the storage room is actually us, the version that actually woke up, like, normally after sleeping. So, this is actually us. A version of us. And obviously, when we died, when we met our inevitable fate, Amelia was like, nope, and pulled us back with memories of when we first fucking went to sleep. Basically.
There's a problem with the seventh key.
Last key.
She has it. In order to get the seventh key, you must trick her into dropping it.
She almost got me back.
Reject her
Come on, drop it, drop it. Drop it. There it is. Yeah, I don't know why the key sometimes spawns weirdly. I don't know. It's supposed to spawn in a certain direction. Okay, now all we need to do is escape. Come on. Just need to get to the gate. Why did she spawn right in front of me? That was a bit weird. It was probably lag. Either lag or a weird hitbox. There we go. Yeah, she wasn't supposed to spawn in front of us. I think the raycast was a bit lagged out. Obviously, if we fail to look at her now, she will kill us because she is at the highest tier. So we need to be on high alert. Fuck, where is she? If she reaches stage 10... Oh, there she is. If she reaches stage 10 and teleports again... If she reaches stage 10 and reaches... Basically, if she reaches the 11th stage, she immediately goes to the chasing stage. And if she goes to chasing stage, we're pretty much dead. If we're not anywhere close to the gate. Okay, good. The amount of time you have to stare at her for is randomized from a certain number. Where are you? This is actually kind of... There's the gate, there's the gate, there's the gate. Oh gosh, there's the gate, there's the gate. Come on, we're almost there, we're almost there. We can make it. We can make it. We can make it. Just believe. Just believe. Just believe. There you are. You spawned... Yeah, it was on a high stage as well, because it spawned really close. The higher the stage is, the closer it is. The max stage is 10. Once it surpasses 10, it goes immediately to chasing stage. Every time it teleports, it goes up one stage. And when you successfully stare at it, it goes down, I think, 3 stages, I believe. And then it gets deactivated for a certain amount of time. Yes! Fuck you, onvermijdelijk. We did it. And I think we also started it. Boom! And we also got the achievement. A will for destiny. Hell yeah! Can I get a pog champ in chat? Obviously, there's no one really in the chat, is there? Yeah. So anyway, that's my map. It was really laggy, but obviously it was doable. It was doable. Obviously, it's not as laggy as it is in game. I was just streaming, so it was a lot worse for me. If you're on a fucking like Dell computer, you'll probably have a hard time there. So yeah, you need like a moderate graphics card to run it sort of well, I guess. I will do my best to optimize it though. So anyway, this achievement, a will for destiny, survive without dying a single time. Yeah, we did it. We did it. A thirst for change. Complete the game in hard mode. I have done this. I tried to do a thirst for... I tried to get all 3 achievements at once. But I ended up dying once. And from a glitch, I will say. Because I successfully stared... Because I successfully stared at the glitch. I was staring at the ghost. But the raycast must have kind of bugged a bit because it detected it as me looking away. So it went into the chasing stage and it killed me. So technically in that run I should have gotten all 3 achievements, but I didn't. I only got 2 of them, which is the thirst for change and To the Words of the Lost One, which is a hidden achievement. And you can find that hidden achievement when you play that game. It's not too hard to figure out. You just gotta listen to what Amelia says. Basically, listen to her words. She is the lost one. That's the clue. Amelia is the lost one. To the words of the lost one. Can you find that achievement? Who knows? I found that achievement. That's because I made it. So, whatever. Anyway. Thank you for playing the alpha experience. Thank you for playing the alpha experience. When Spookality was announced for this year, I didn't know a thing about Udon and making maps in VRChat. But I wanted to make something for Spookality anyway, so I learnt what I could and made this experience in just 2 months. There was a lot of sleepless nights of working on this, and I am happy with how, uh, with how with how it has turned out so far. That's supposed to be has. There were a few things that went wrong, and I had to rush a few things, but other than that, I think it turned out great. I really hope you enjoyed it, since I put so much effort into it. I don't think I'm going to win the Spookality, but this challenge has given me knowledge on how to use Unity and C Sharp, U Sharp. I'd like to thank everyone that helped me in Merlin's Discord server. I know I asked a lot of questions, and I thank you for helping me through all the problems I encountered. Anyways, thanks again for playing my map. If you liked it, make sure to tell your friends about this map, so that they can enjoy it too. I'll see you in the full release. uh, and obviously there's a quick survey that you can fill out. 9 lowercase a, 3 capital Z, capital S, capital R, capital B, lowercase p, capital Y, lowercase w, not w, lowercase u, 1, lowercase a, lowercase c, lowercase 9 to 4, uppercase a. Obviously, I only have one submission. Actually, I'll check right now. Uh, whoops. Whoopsie. Hang on. I'll check right now how many fucking... Do I have any more submissions? No. Uh, I guess people don't like searching up links. Pardon me. Anyway, there's also the Discord server, WK, lowercase w, lowercase k, lowercase q, lowercase g, uppercase r, lowercase p. That will take you to the Discord server in for my game and my story and my map. I'm probably going to put this stream on YouTube, and the link to that Discord server will be in the description. I won't put the survey in the description because obviously you guys haven't played it. You guys have to play it in order to fill out that survey. Please don't please don't just do the survey if you haven't played the game. I'd appreciate it if you played the game before doing the survey. And yeah, that's all really. I got really nothing else to do really. I kind of have to pee a bit as well. Oh shit. So anyway, I'm gonna be putting this on YouTube. I'll try and do the YouTube thing where like it's sectioned out. Like I'll figure that out and shit. And yeah, I hope this turns out well. Uh, this is just me having a little fun and stuff. And yeah, uh, thanks to everyone that came. Obviously, there's no one here right now, but thanks for oh yeah, the flashlight's still here. uh, uh, I'll also be adding a notepad so that you can see basically what you have to do. And yeah, I guess that will have to end the stream really. So I hope everyone had fun. I hope this turned out well. And I thank everyone for coming, and I thank everyone for watching on YouTube and on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube, and yeah. Thank you. Bye.